Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast. In today's episode, I want to dive into some things around systems and team. I talk a lot about sales and marketing, and there's a good reason for that. The sales and marketing stuff is much harder to nail. SOPs not so much, but there is a part of SOPs which is really related to the management, a few other things that makes SOPs much harder than it should be, okay? So how about today we jump in and we learn some stuff that will move the needle today or another day, depending on whether you've got team now or you intend to hire. So I'm excited to share this one with you, share my thought leadership and help you thrive in practice. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I'm an award-winning entrepreneur, author, speaker, trainer and coach. After 13 years in practice and after scaling into a lifestyle business where I could choose my own adventure, I'm sharing my secrets to success, my secret sauce recipe on how to build a thriving practice, delight your clients and ultimately live your dream on your terms. This podcast is a companion to my book. In each weekly episode, I'll share strategies for scaling and success. This is your time to shine, to step up, to become a strategic bookkeeper and enjoy all the benefits it brings to you and your clients. Hello, my friends. Okay, so I do a lot of podcast episodes on sales and marketing related topics, and that is because sales and marketing for bookkeepers, sales and marketing generally, but I am micro-niching into bookkeepers, right, to help you with exactly what you need to know. I'm not a generalist, I'm a specialist, right? So sales and marketing for bookkeepers is a lot like painting a Picasso. It is not linear. It is throwing paint on a canvas, and it is a windy road down the customer journey from A to Z. Yeah, it is the science and art. It interacts with so many things, like even Google, right? The algorithms change. What works one day doesn't work another day. Different referral partners work differently. You get information off people that's completely wrong. It is not your specialty. It is not what bookkeepers generally do well, right? Like I could go on and on. So the sales and marketing stuff is really hard to nail. And honestly, globally, I've seen what's on offer out there, and look, this is probably why podcast interruption. Just to let you know, if you did not join the program when the doors open on August 1, and they opened for 14 days before my team and I rocked up live, it doesn't mean that you can't join in. The program is evergreen. Okay, so we have a way to bring you into the program seamlessly, beautifully, so that you can absolutely start working with me to build your thriving practice, delight your clients, and live your dream on your terms. If you are keen to know how that works, just drop us an email or ask in the private Facebook group. I'm always really grateful for that because then I can help the many as well as the one. Or simply use the link that will drop in the show notes or go to the website, pretty easy, and jump into the program because two things. Number one, it comes with a money back guarantee, or let's say three things. Number two, I do not get you to spend extra time working with me. This is about on the job. Yes, I've done other podcasts on that. And number three, that money back guarantee, it kicks in after a year, but my expectation is to help you get the ROI really early, so that pays for the program. But yes, we're going to spend a year together. So back to the podcast. This is probably why nobody in the bookkeeping space is offering the kind of help and support that I am offering, because you know what? It's much easier to offer support around systems, standard operating procedures, and actually it's easy to sell that to bookkeepers because our profile is such, or your profile is such, that you naturally bias into wanting to believe that standards and systems and SOPs are what will build your thriving practice, when actually they're just a piece of the puzzle. And if we can't find new clients when we need them, if we can't create a beautiful pipeline strategy, not only will we not grow our business, but we won't have much fun, because we'll be on the seesaw strategy, which I think I've done another podcast on. That said, when you find a new client, you certainly need to know what to do with them as well. Okay, but I give you lots of stuff on that. If that is a problem that you really, really want to solve, the book is great. The podcast is great. There is nothing like the program, okay? It is a Ferrari. So I would encourage you to either join or begin to look at what's inside and the value of it. Okay, so let's talk about a few really 5% things around standard operating procedures that will make all the difference. And as I talk to you today, I'm holding a bookkeeper in my mind that reached out to me not long ago. We had a beautiful chat. We had so much in common. It was just, open hearts, open minds, amazing. And she has taken over a bookkeeping practice. So I know that she's got team, right? She's got heaps of clients. And she said to me, I'm so bogged down with trying to kind of fix everything, the infrastructure, the back end, because the sales and marketing is the front end. Yeah, and the administration is the back end. Imagine the front end of your business like a little girl running around with a flower in her hair, skipping. And then the back end, imagine that as a serious woman with glasses on, sitting at a desk, ticking off tasks. So the back end, like I say, is very structured and linear, and the front end, not at all, okay? So I hold this bookkeeper in my mind because it's a great example of someone who really needs this kind of information. So whether you have a team now or you're going to recruit a team in the future, a team of one or more, the minute you have one person, wow, everything will completely change. When you go from you to +1, like I remember doing that, and you think it's just someone helping me, right? Oh my goodness, no. Read the E-Myth or do the Blinkist app E-Myth summary, 10 to 15 minutes. Here's the thing about recruiting your first staff member or recruiting team. You are recruiting humans, not robots. So you are recruiting messy, beautiful, flawed humans, yeah? And I did another podcast that talked to you about the 4 types. So you've got the superstar, the workhorse, that's who we want on our team. And then unfortunately you've got yo-yos and time wasters, okay? And we need to hire slow and fire fast. And one of the reasons for that is because unlike the creative, windy road of sales and marketing, where things are all over the place and it's hard to even tell what's correct and what's not, in the back end, things are very linear, very black and white, and there's not much room for movement, which, in my opinion, makes the back end a lot easier if you are prepared. Maybe I should say it makes it simpler, right? Because simple isn't always easy. And I have learnt the hard way, my friends, that in terms of the back end, we need to be prepared to make the hard decisions far more than we need to be prepared to work hard, okay? So hard decisions rather than working hard. Hire slow, fire fast. Hold people accountable, no excuses, that kind of thing, okay? So when you recruit your first team member, let me tell you, your business is going to kind of change. Imagine it going from 1 to 10 in terms of the challenges that you'll face, yeah? And the way that you can minimize those challenges is to really listen and implement the things I give you. Now, you've got 2 choices. You can listen and then, I'm going to call it make excuses, but it's really almost like, I'm going to talk about the hats again. So when you listen to this, the best way you can implement what I give you is to absolutely use the invisible hats, okay? So I want you, when you're implementing what I give you, to take your personal, might be parent, friend hat off, yeah? And you're going to have to put your big boss manager hat on, okay? But the great news is that you don't always have to wear it for very long, and you can interchange hats, yeah? But you absolutely are going to have to do it. I absolutely wish I had have done this better in my business over the years. Prior to starting my bookkeeping practice, I did it really, really well in other people's businesses, and I firmly believe that's because we're not at the top. In a way, we get to blame the owner of the business or whatever, not verbally, but in our mind, it's like, well, I'm being paid to do a job. Yeah, I'm being paid to manage this team, and I'm going to do it in a very, structured, box-ticking way. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to keep my values intact. But then when it comes to our own business, there's nobody, we can't look over our shoulder, in a virtual kind of way at the big boss who everybody knows is to blame. Do you know what I mean? So I certainly found it a lot completely different doing it in my own business to what I found it doing it in someone else's business. And what I'm talking about is that people-pleasing manager, the people-pleasing monster, leaving the friend hat on, and then when I did wear the manager hat on, kind of having half the friend hat, half the mum hat, half the manager hat, yeah, and even having the sales and marketing hat on. We definitely don't want to have that on when we are in the back end dealing with administration and dealing with staff. The only hats we want to wear when we are in the back end are the manager and leader. Okay, so if you have a team of one or more or you're going to recruit, listen up. So in terms of standard operating procedures and developing those for yourself, or even if you come into the program, okay, and we give you everything done for you and then we hold your hand for a year. Here's something that I have learned. So as the owner of the business, you are not the best person to develop the SOPs, roll out the SOPs, yeah, whether it is outside of our program or inside of our program. If you have a team of one or more, usually that person or someone on your team is the one who is best heading it up, okay? Now, in the book, I give you psychometric testing, which is really easy to do, and I do recommend that you get that done with your team, with you and your team. Everybody on my team has theirs done. Yeah, I don't recruit before I have it, and we all share it and we laugh a lot about it, and then we're able to really understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. So this will really help you understand this person's aptitude for taking care of the standard operating procedures. So that is number one. Hold it in your mind. Number one, you are not the best person to do it. If you are all by yourself, then absolutely you can document what you do in order to create SOPs. Yeah, I call it the I did it document. So you're working all by yourself and you could have a document open and you say what you're doing, how often you do it, how long approximately it takes is a really good one. And then the last column is a link to like a basic SOP that tells someone, if I became unavailable, this is how you would do it. Remembering that we're not teaching someone how to be a bookkeeper either, because we recruit bookkeepers. And this is going to be for, the day-to-day bookkeeping primarily, because we always want to be documenting the critical client flow first. But there is a crossover into the, the admin, onboarding, etc., because the administration of your business that happens while the critical client flow is happening is completely linked to that, okay? And then the onboarding and offboarding as well is to be considered. So the second thing is a mistake I've definitely made before, and I think bookkeepers make it, and it's back to we recruit humans, not robots, and that is that. So we recruit a human and it's easy to feel like, okay, great, I'm just going to ask them to do something and they're going to do it, and they're always going to tell me the truth. The truth is not a black and white word. What I would say with regard to that is when you bring on a team member, it is natural for them to want to, I think of Frank Sinatra when I say this, do it my way, right? And you actually need them to do it your way. Your way is your standard operating procedures. We call our SOPs the Strategic Bookkeeper's way, yeah? And then we turn it into the Cloud9 way because we built it off the back of ours for you. It was always the Cloud9 way. So what I say to my team is you need to believe in my way and you need to trust me, yeah, and you need to do it my way. Zero tolerance. There's no room for movement. If you don't want to do it my way, that is okay, yeah? But you can't work for my brand if you don't do it my way, because we are going from our vision for our client to our mission, and that is all backed up by our processes, right? So if you're not going to do it our way, then best of luck, and let's keep the friendship and end the employee-employer relationship, yeah, or subcontractor, whatever you want to call it, okay? So I once had a really amazing employee, and as we began to turnkey the business, she said to me, I don't like that you are turnkeying. I don't like that I have to follow processes. And I said, well, this is Business 101 and you're amazing and I love working with you. That's not something I can be flexible on though. Like every business needs to turnkey. And so she moved on, and to this day we are still friends. We still get along really, really well, but I couldn't keep someone on my team that had such a major conflict. She's so skilled, yeah, but that doesn't matter, okay? So number one was, you are not the best person to do the SOPs if you have team. Then the second thing we have covered off is that if you are all by yourself, absolutely you can begin to document everything. And so the next one we've covered off is humans, okay? And they need to do it your way, but they are going to want to do it their way. So what do we do about that? Well, number one, we manage them, all right? So we'll cover that in a second. But the second thing is, I recommend that when you are, so even if you have SOPs and you think, oh, things in my business aren't working that well, I'm dealing with some issues, like if you have staff, and if you don't have staff, this is what you should look forward to if you don't do it this way, okay? So in terms of getting your SOPs in place, the team using them 100%, yeah, zero tolerance, yeah, in terms of those two things, I believe you should give yourself a special project that is over 1 year, yeah, you begin it, you monitor it, you manage it, and you celebrate at the end, yeah. Now there was a time that if you told me that, I would go, but they're just SOPs, yeah, and don't I just give them to the staff and they follow them? Oh, I wish it was that simple. So these are humans. We have habits at play. They all want to do it their way, and often they feel like they know better than you, and also that you don't understand their workload. You don't understand all the different excuses they've got for skipping steps, yeah, and just telling you they're doing it because you don't really understand and they know better than you, okay? So let's say you came into the program, because it's the same if you don't come into the program. It's going to be easier for me to brain dump thinking of it that way. So let's say you come into the program and we give you the SOPs and we kind of help you with how to get started. And let's imagine for a minute that you've got 2 on the team. Doesn't matter if you haven't got any, even if it's just you. So the day-to-day of what you do, the work, is the ongoing stuff, right? Anything that you need to introduce and implement is to some extent a special project. And using that phrase special project is great, because we can also say, okay, this is the beginning of the project, here's what we need to do, and I'm going to check in and check on the progress, right? So you can have a way to understand how it's all going, all right? So that is really great. So somebody on your team, for example, if you're in our program, they would head up all the standard operating procedures. Now, what they need to do is pretty simple. They need to take the SOPs, learn them, yeah, implement them, yeah. If there's anyone else on the team, they need to help them with how they implement them. Then they need to look at if everything is working in respect of, is everyone doing all the things that they are meant to do in the time frame they are meant to do them, yeah? And then we need to have a way and a forum to tackle things that come up weekly. So we have something called the Better Every Week process, the Better Every Week sheet. We don't do interruptions. We have ways to tackle all that so that every week everybody has a forum to talk about the things that need to be modified and improved and who's going to do it, okay? So over that year, let's say you're just catching up with the person involved once a month just to look at how everything's going. And internally we have things like the critical drivers of profit, right? So we can see profitability on jobs. SOPs are to primarily keep your promises to your clients. They are the second thing. They are to make your business super efficient, okay? Time wasters and yo-yos will make your business inefficient and cost you a fortune, and your profits will drop, yeah? Very linear, very black and white. So that is a mistake I see bookkeepers make is, and I've made it myself, okay? So SOPs, here you go, so easy, bookkeepers are built for them, implement, go, yeah? I believe absolutely make it a year-long special project. Now, that does not mean that you can't implement and start using them very quickly. Your team needs to be following a process and checklist, and they can all jump in and get all that cracking immediately and use them, okay? What happens when you have it as a special project? It's about, like I talk about in the program with everything, you know, I can give you everything, you can get cracking in a month, but then what we want to do is hold your hand while we look at what's working, what's not working, and we progress and we practice until it is, you know, in terms of standard operating procedures, until it is perfect, until it is turnkey, until there are no excuses. Yeah? Now, I won't keep you much longer, but I'm just going to give you an example of exactly what happened in my practice. And I've had standard operating procedures from the get-go, right? But over the years, we've tested and measured different kind of formats, and I have recruited team, and I haven't been zero tolerance, yeah? And then I've had to tackle the fact that they are not following the SOPs. And here's something that I did as a mistake. When team members weren't 100% performing, when there was little cracks happening, when there was problems happening, rather than zero tolerance manage, I tried to improve the SOP. And I now know that what I should have done was just hire slow, fire fast, zero tolerance, right? It doesn't have to be mean, like I talked about with the team member who has moved on because she wasn't keen on turnkey. It was fine. I've referred work to her. And I am a marshmallow. I am such a softie, but there's no real place for the wearing the wrong hat when you're at work. So another example is a beautiful friend of mine, first person ever worked with me for ages. We've known each other half my life. And when we updated our vision and our mission and started moving to strategic bookkeeping, she said to me, I love your vision, I love your mission, and I don't want to be part of it. And I loved her honesty so much, and she moved on. She's so amazing because, see, she knows if she's not 100% on board, then it's not going to work, right? So these things don't have to be yucky at all, okay? So the example I want to give you, so some years ago, I decided, you know what, I want to change up the way the SOPs are working, and I'm going to create this special project, and come hell or high water, yeah, I'm going to move heaven and earth to make sure I get the result that I want, yeah, turnkey operations. So I appointed someone to kind of to head it up, exactly like I'm talking to you about, just in a simple way. And then we had regular meetings to track what everyone was doing, okay? So in this case, one of the things I decided that I wanted the team to do was to create client how-to, yeah, videos and also written instructions. So 80% of what we do for our clients is pretty much the same. 20% is the nuances that we really need to document, and especially when it comes to payroll. I just found that this stuff was kind of keeping me up at night, and so what I wanted to create more business continuity planning, yeah, I love business continuity planning for my clients, for my practice, yeah, so that if a staff member left, especially if they leave suddenly, the business continuity around that client's account was very streamlined and easy. So you would think this is pretty easy. I said to the team, so as you do your work on a client's account, I just want you to create a set of how-to videos. So literally you're working on the account, you just press record on your Loom, you explain what you're doing, that goes into the folder, and then we have something, there's a document that we have that details just the little nuances as well. So that's like for their task instructions, all right? So pretty simple. Now, one team member in particular pushed back, just pretty much said, I'm not going to do it, and tried to tell me why. So in this case, I've got too much work on, right? So I can't do it. And I said, no, that's okay. I'll take the workload off you. There you go. You've got time now. She did not want to do it. Now, why she didn't want to do it is actually irrelevant. Yeah. The fact is, I guess the point I want for you to take home on this is that humans, messy, why we do what we do, who bloody knows, right? So what I said to that team member and to the whole group was, come hell or high water, this project will get done. Yeah, I will remove any barrier that you have. This is my highest priority right now. Yeah, you're on board or you're not on board. Yeah, you're doing it or you're not doing it. There is no grey. And so very reluctantly this team member did that, because I was quite happy to take all her work off her, okay, if that needed to be her priority, all right, but I needed to be prepared to do what I needed to do, yeah. And another example is another team member we had. Now this team member was working remotely, all mine do, and he simply wasn't doing his work, and he was kind of telling untruths about it. He's actually a really nice guy, and once we implemented precision by Dex and the workflows, we could really visually see, and other tech tools, that he wasn't doing what he needed to do in terms of process and time and task, okay? And so throughout the project, we were able to quickly have a discussion with him, and again, fire fast, hire slow, fire fast. Lovely guy. He really wanted to stay on the team, but we could see that he had really poor habits that prevented him from being able to work from home, and that's our model, okay? So we parted on really lovely terms, but it was what it was. Another one is that, so I have a price and service guarantee in my practice, and attached to the service guarantee, we need to deliver all parts of the SLA, and I discovered that some team were simply not sending out end-of-month financial reports. They were telling me they were, but they weren't. And again, the excuses in their mind, well, I'm really busy, Jeannie doesn't understand, and I know better than her, so I'll just nod and say yes, okay? So I needed to be zero tolerance about that. Now, what has been the effect of me doing all the things that I've told you that I have done? Retention has been one of them. So retention has gone from good to great to exceptional, yeah? Another one is profitability. So our profitability has gone up and up and up and up. And the third one is capacity. So our capacity to do work has opened and opened and opened as we've become more and more efficient. So we've been able to reduce our team by natural attrition as people left and not replace them, because committing to wear the manager hat and wear it well, and I don't have to do it much, right, because my right hand manages the practice, but committing to do this and be zero tolerance and accept that when you put the manager hat on, you're not going to make friends. The good news is you can take it off and put the friend hat on again, yeah, when we clock off. Committing to all of this has truly meant that piece of the puzzle has allowed my business to thrive, okay? So the back end, black and white, linear, actually the easier part. I just need you to make harder decisions, yeah, rather than work harder, okay? The front end of the business where we find the work, yeah, and also where we're smart around the work, yeah. In terms of the front end, the sales and marketing, this is not just about finding clients, it's about finding on board without price as a priority. Yeah, so that's being able to convey your value and talk about your why rather than just your what. So I call the front end like the 80%, right? It's creative, messy, painting a Picasso stuff that if we don't get that, there is no business to have SOPs for anyway, okay? But the SOP is very linear, very black and white. So if you need to listen to this on repeat and really do, think about your decision to step up, make the hard decisions, wear the manager hat and wear it well.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have a question you'd like answered on my podcast, please email me, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. Did you know we have a private Facebook group called the Strategic Bookkeeper's Way? There you'll find bookkeepers just like you on the same journey where you can ask questions and get support. You can find more resources and how to work with me at thestrategicbookkeeper.global. All the links are in the show notes. Have a prosperous week and I'll see you in the next episode.